Yep. So we're gonna making some curry, and we're gonna be making cilantro paste also. It's actually pretty good. When I first saw it, I was like, "What's this? Guacamole?" And I looked at it, I was like, "Not necessarily." Did not taste it. It had a nice zest to it. It was pretty good. It was good. We have some tofu here, and this tofu, you want to make sure you dice it. What I'm gonna do is I got some olive oil here, extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna put some of that on there like that. And I have some King Arthur flour here. And so what I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna put this over on this tofu. Normally how I do it at home, I get a Ziploc bag, put all the seasonings in there, dump the tofu in there, and just, I'm gonna stir this up. Put a little bit more in there, stir it up. Then I'm gonna add my seasonings. Got some garlic powder. Got a little turmeric. I ain't gonna put too much of that in there, so just a little bit. Ooh, too much. Just kind of give it a little color. And there's your onion powder. We already added garlic powder. This is your onion powder. And some salt. Don't put too much in there. And we just stir it all up. We put it in the pan. We're going to put it in the pan. We're going to put it in the oven. We're going to bake it. And they'll be baking while we get the other stuff for this curry ready. So Carlene will come out and show you with the potatoes and stuff to make sure it's ready. All right, and that's it. So we're going to put this in the oven. We're going to let it bake. And that's going to go right into our curry. So that's pretty much ready to go. So it takes on the flavor of the seasoning you put in it. But this is your real meat right here. Plant-based tofu. There it is. All right, it's going in the oven at 350. About an hour or two, at least it's about done. Nice and crispy to go right into our curry.
Today we're going to make curry. And what we're going to do is, actually first, what is curry? It's an Indian dish. And it has potatoes in it. It's going to have onions and garlic. And it's really good. So the first thing we're going to do is add some olive oil into the pan. Ooh, it's hot. And saute these seasonings in there. Now this is turmeric. This is another cayenne or paprika. This is cumin, and then we're gonna saute that together like that. Okay, now you gotta be kind of quick if your pan's hot with the seasonings, because you don't want to burn. You want to make it too smoky. And then now this is the onions. Okay. Now saute that all together. And put in 6 cloves of garlic. So now this is some garlic. And it's good to use a garlic press because it makes it much easier instead of cutting it up, because it'll be a lot of cutting to get it this small. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to add is potatoes. These are washed potatoes and cut potatoes. These are red potatoes. You can use russet potatoes, but it's up to you. So stir this up. So you want to mix all the seasonings up together on the potatoes. Mix it all very well. And then add coconut milk. Now this coconut milk is unsweetened. You want to get the regular kind, that's not the low fat one, just the regular coconut milk. And it only has 3 ingredients in it. This is the coconut milk to get, and it only has 3 ingredients. You want to get the regular kind, coconut unsweetened. So we're going to stick this in here. Coconut milk. Now we're going to add some salt in here, and salt to taste. And stir it up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cover the potatoes up, and you want to let it cook for about, on medium heat, for about 25 minutes. And then the next step is putting the tofu in here, okay? So now this has been cooking for about 30 minutes, and it's soft now. So now what we're going to do is add some lemon juice to it. This is 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1 can of olives. Yeah, you can actually add carrots. You can add green string beans in it. You can add green peas in it. It's up to you. Now this is the tofu. So we're gonna add that to it. So now stir that all together. And then how you layer it is you put some rice on the bottom. Like that. And then you put this on top, the curry dish on top. And that's that. That's the curry dish.
Okay, so today we're actually going to make something that is called a cilantro pesto. Now, why are we making cilantro pesto? One reason is because it tastes really, really, really good. I actually enjoyed it. It's one of those recipes that I was trying to actually find a recipe to, we were actually trying to find a good recipe. If you want a good, something that's really good that actually helps with a lot of different things. Cilantro specifically, and this is what cilantro is. I'm going to actually pass the piece around. It has a unique smell. It looks similar to parsley. In fact, if you look at it in the store, you actually, you can smell it. It actually has a very unique smell. It has a unique smell to it too. Cilantro is actually used for something called chelation. I don't know if your eyes are familiar with chelation, but chelation is something where it's like called a detox. It actually pulls out poisonous metals that have been in your body. For example, if you have been exposed to mercury from whatever source. I mean, some people get mercury from fillings in their mouth from their teeth. It could come from fish. It could come from different sources, vaccines or whatever. Anywhere you get mercury, things like you want to pull that out of your system, right? Radiation exposes you to heavy metal toxins too. So what cilantro does specifically, it helps to pull out those bad things, right? It doesn't mean you go ahead and do those things and then you take the cilantro. I'm not saying that. But if there's, like, I have fillings in my mouth now, right? I had them since I was a teenager. There's nothing I can do about it. That's the past, right? But what I can do now is to help my body flush out of those heavy metal toxins is use things like cilantro. So cilantro is really good for a detox, a natural detox. So the first thing you want to do on this recipe is actually add the cilantro. Now, I'm the type of person, when the recipe actually said add the cilantro first, I didn't do it. I said, well, why does that have to be added first? I'll add my nuts and things first because I want that to see how that's chopped. Well, I did the nuts first, and what happened was when I added the cilantro at the end, the nuts were still at the bottom and the cilantro was on top and it never incorporated. So I had to take the nuts out and then put the cilantro in first like the recipe said to do. So just a tip for those of you who don't like to follow directions, that's a very important instruction that's actually in the recipe. Put the cilantro in first, go ahead and start pulsing it out, and then we're going to add our nuts and seeds. All right, here we go. The cilantro just pulses up. And it nicely chops it up. You don't have to worry about chopping it yourself this way. The other things that we have in here are seeds, nuts and seeds. Brazil nuts, which is high in selenium, and that's why we're adding Brazil nuts. And it also has sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, and flax seeds. And you may think, wow, how is that going to taste good? Trust me, these are a lot of seeds that are in here, but the recipe actually tastes really, really good. Okay, so that's a cup of seeds. You can actually be creative. You can add pumpkin seeds if you like pumpkin seeds. You can add other seeds. We're just trying to make sure other nuts if you like. I've only tried it with the Brazil nuts, but you could add other nuts as well. So go ahead and add those in there. Now, what I wanted to do when I did the recipe, I wanted to add a cruciferous vegetable in there, right? But I was trying to think out which cruciferous would I add. I actually added some greens from the garden to it. It turned out fine. Another cruciferous that most people don't think about as being a cruciferous is radishes. And radishes are really good for you as well, but it is also a cruciferous. Huh?
Particularly, it helps. What is it known to help the most?
It's good for the thyroid. Which, whenever you're exposed to too much radiation or anything, radishes are really good for you. Okay, so we've got our radishes in there, and we are adding our garlic. It's kind of like, for those of you who've been in the cooking classes before, it's a mixture of the green and the Russian penicillin, but it sure does taste a whole lot better. That was just an extra touch. Now we got lemon juice and salt, and I need just a little bit of olive oil. Salt.
How much olive oil?
It's like a tablespoon. Can you ask somebody to pass out this olive oil? A tablespoon of olive oil. Oh, it's already out here. All right. Just a little bit. It smells good. It tastes even better. When you see these in here, you're thinking, wow, how is that really going to taste? But I tell you, it tastes really, really good. One more. You can't do that in a blender. You can't do it in a blender because if you do, you will make instead of it being a pesto, it will be more of a smoothie kind of consistency. It will be too smooth. This one keeps it chunky, so you actually have some texture to it. So when you put it on toast, you can put it on a boiled potato. You can put it on eggs. Yeah, I always thought a lot of it. It's really good. Yeah, a little spoon. And then you let the food processor kind of do the work for you. Just going to get it off the edges here. And yeah, it does smell good. I'm going to go ahead and there is a lot of flexibility with this. Like I said, I've added collard greens and turnips to it just to add it with the cilantro just to see what it would taste like. And it was good. I couldn't taste it in there. There we go. That's great. That's about the consistency that you want. You don't want it too liquidy when you post it. Post it's good. You can pulse it if you want. If you want to pulse it, go ahead, pulse it 3 times. 2 and 3. Way to go. Okay, Elijah, look at it. Get a spoon from over there. See what it tastes like. Grab a sample of it.
I'm a second witness.
Okay, let's see if it has enough fun. Yeah, we need 2 witnesses. By 2 witnesses, how things get started.
Where do you get your cilantro from?
This one came from, my sister got from Whole Foods because it was an organic cilantro, I believe. But you can get cilantro from Food Line and Walmart. Cilantro is from Food Line and Walmart. Now, if you have this with food, it is awesome. You've got the chlorophyll, the dark green chlorophyll from all that. It's great. It tastes good. A little bit more.
Got a little kick to it.
Yeah, the lemon juice gives it a
A little
nice
bit more.
kick.
What, Elijah?
He said it needs to be blended a little more. I like it chunky because I don't want to eat it when it's mushy. What did you think? Blend it a little longer or?
I put it like a little bit.
I don't like to blend it too much once I add the olive oil in it, only because the olive oil, once you heat it, even if it's in a container like this, it starts to get bitter.
Say that tip again.
Olive oil, when you blend something and you add the olive oil while you're blending it and it gets really hot, whatever you're making will be bitter. We made mayonnaise before, and we did the same ingredients, and we noticed sometimes it was getting bitter and sometimes it was not. And we learned that when you heat olive oil, even if you're blending it, it actually breaks down something about it when that makes the olive oil actually turn bitter. So when you're actually done with the way consistency you want it, that's when you add the olive oil. That way it's not bitter at the end. This is actually a sauce, and I got enough cilantro to make some more, but this is actually a sauce. You only use like a tablespoon or 2 on your as a dip. So it's not something you eat a whole plate full of. It's just a topping.
It's a condiment.
It's a condiment. Yeah, like